Putin's Russia is a 2004 collection of documentary articles by the Russian journalist Anna Politkovskaya. Politkovskaya reported on political and social issues in Russia and was a vigorous critic of Vladimir Putin. She was subjected to a mock execution by the Russian army for her dispatches from Chechnya, and she was poisoned on her way to help negotiate a resolution to the 2004 Beslan school hostage crisis. 2 years later, at the age of just 48, she was murdered in a Moscow lift. At the end of the 19th century, most educated Western Europeans would probably have been able to name 2 or 3 contemporary Russian novelists who wrote seriously about their own society. The same was mostly true of the Soviet era. Putin's era is different. My guess is that most educated Europeans would be hard-pressed to name a single contemporary Russian novelist, and naming one who writes seriously about Putin's Russia may be impossible. That's what makes journalists like Anna Politkovskaya so important. Their books will almost certainly serve future Russian novelists as invaluable sources when, as is inevitable, they finally gain the freedom to write about life in Russia as it has been since 1999. On the evidence of this book, it's highly unlikely they'll be kind. Putin's Russia is an unflinching dissection of life in an ever-worsening kleptocracy. Including the postscript and a relatively short essay called After Beslan, there are 9 chapters, each documenting a different horror. The book covers life as a Russian conscript, war crimes in Chechnya, and the Beslan school hostage crisis in which the Russian president deployed a secret military poisonous gas, killing all 31 terrorists, but also 333 hostages, nearly 2/3 of whom were children. The 7th chapter in the book, Arkady Akeyevich Putin II, gets to the heart of the problem. The title's a grim joke. Arkady Akeyevich is the pathetic centerpiece of Nikolai Gogol's 1842 short story, The Overcoat. Politkovskaya penned her essay just after the 2004 elections, which gave Putin an unbelievable majority of over 70%. In a few hours, she wrote, Putin, a typical lieutenant colonel of the Soviet KGB, will ascend the Russian throne once again. His outlook is the narrow provincial one his rank would suggest. He has the unprepossessing personality of a lieutenant colonel that never made it to colonel, the manner of a Soviet secret policeman who habitually snoops on his colleagues, and he's vindictive. Not a single political opponent has been invited to the inauguration ceremony, not a single political party that's in any way out of step. Putin's Russia was meant partly for Western readers. Putin's rise, the author justly claims, has happened to choruses of encouragement from the West. Silvio Berlusconi is Putin's main European champion, but Putin also enjoys the support of Blair, Schroeder and Chirac, and receives no discouragement from the transatlantic junior Bush. And he despises the Russian people. He sees us as a means to his own end, she says. We are nobody, while he whom chance has enabled to clamber to the top of the pile is today Tsar and God. A final paragraph is prophetic. In Russia, we've had leaders with this outlook before. It led to tragedy, to bloodshed on a huge scale. As I mentioned at the beginning, Anna Politkovskaya was murdered in 2006. By sheer coincidence, perhaps, her killing took place on the 7th of October, Vladimir Putin's birthday. A decade later, 5 men were sent to prison, but this was a contract killing, and officially, who was ultimately behind it remains an unsolved mystery to this day. So I suppose it's anyone's guess.